sick and tired of hearing about all of the radicals and the perverts and the liberals and the leftists and the communists coming out of the closets. It's time for God's people to come out of the closets, out of the churches, and change America. We must do it.
We've got to raise up an army of men and women in America who will call this nation back to moral sanity and sensibility. I call that the moral majority.
I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag and to the Savior for whose sake.
Remember that this is a celebration, not a funeral. Praise God. Let's be happy about it.
With life and liberty for all who believe.
Life and liberty for all who believe. Do you know what the traditional Christian pledge says? One brotherhood uniting all mankind in service and love. I'm Burt Lancaster, and if you're shocked as I am that some ministers have rewritten the Christian pledge to suggest that liberty is only for those who believe their way, then please stay with me for an extraordinary program. You'll see that we as a nation are besieged today by a powerful, wealthy movement with one dangerous goal: to mix religion with partisan politics so they can force their narrow doctrine on all of us. Religion is important to the life of America, and religious values are important in our individual lives. But also important is another basic American value: freedom to speak, believe, and worship as we choose. There are some groups attacking these freedoms. They're sometimes called the moral majority, sometimes Christian Voice or Religious Roundtable. You're about to see for yourself what they're attempting to do.
From the auditorium of the Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Faith Partners and Friends present Jerry Falwell and the Old Time Gospel Hour.
Theirs is an electronic church, a vast technological pulpit that reaches 40 million Americans every week on 1,100 religious radio stations, almost 1,000 television stations, 4 satellite networks.
A faith partner gives $10 every month to keep the program on the station where they live.
It is a pulpit whose success has been measured in a constant flow of donations. A pulpit that increasingly uses religion to preach politics. One whose marketing must be as skillful as its message.
Once a month I'll write you and enclose that envelope for your convenience.
I want you to have this handbook here, which is the distillation of many years of counseling to millions of people.
We're building an actual spot that shows an overview of the ministry, shows everything that we do, okay, very quickly, so that those things will already have been shown, and so you have a platform to then come out right into it.
I'm asking you for $100,000 tonight. I sincerely believe it to be in God's will for us to have the television camera that will make it possible for us to be so much more effective. Would you help us?
People do help, sending the TV preachers millions of dollars every week. It's money from those who are fearful, seeking assurance. But by sending religious gifts, their names can become part of political mailing lists. And for the radical right clients of the Richard Viguerie Direct Mail Company, the TV audience is a treasure to be mined, for far more than money. A leader of their network calls these donors a standing army ready to be called to battle in a political war. It's a call that will be sounded in the churches not by preachers, but by politicians.
We are talking about Christianizing America. We are talking about simply spreading the gospel in a political context. And therefore, you have to be able to put things in, if you will, simplistic, polemical terms. Ultimately, everything can be reduced to right and wrong. Everything.
The Washington operatives mastermind a new strategy, one that will confuse religion with politics. Paul Weyrich knows the radical right agenda he has long pursued will benefit from a religious cloak, as does Howard Phillips, head of the Conservative Caucus. They also know the crucial step is convincing some preachers to come along. So they launch a new coalition, and Phillips sends his field director, Ed McAteer, to run the Religious Roundtable. They oppose nuclear arms control in the name of religion, and even claim Social Security is inconsistent with the Bible. Jerry Falwell is the first of the TV preachers to answer the political call. He forms his own organization and gives it a name Wyrick has thought up, Moral Majority.
I don't think we'll talk about it here, but you give me...
Falwell's joined by James Robison, the Texas evangelist, who invites the group to Dallas, where they will conduct a massive training school for the 15,000 preachers they have summoned there.
Preachers, we have a threefold primary responsibility. Number one, get people saved. Number two, get them baptized. Number three, get them registered to vote.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome. Good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
Don't you commit yourself to some political party or politician. You commit yourself to the principles of God and demand those parties and politicians align themselves with the eternal values in this book, and America will be forever the greatest nation on this earth.
So we'll contact the 50 men who in turn will call every congressional district director, who in turn will call every church within his congressional district. And that way...
The lessons taught in Dallas are carried to churches and church basements across the country.
Sunday service, we can mobilize 4 to 6 million people with whatever project needs to be mobilized on a national level. Or at least...
Jesse Helms. Jesse, it's good to have you.
Falwell claims a divine mandate to change America by changing the Congress. And he's embraced by politicians whose political goals he shares.
I'll stand with Jerry Falwell any chance I get anywhere I can.
I want to say to the Congress and to any and all forces on the earth, above it and below it, that long after you have been buried and forgotten, the Church of the Living God will march on, triumphant.
70% of the congressmen targeted by the Christian Voice are defeated. The crusade moves on, pushing for legislation to make their views the law of the land.
You can make the difference by...